Hello, I'm Gary Robinson, the publisher of International Investment, and welcome today to 10 Minutes With. Today I have Stephen Atkinson from Utmost Group. Stephen, welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Let's start with a nice, easy question. Just first off, tell us who you are, what you do, and what your role is in Utmost.
Stephen Atkinson, Global Head of Sales and Marketing for Utmost. Been with Utmost for 5 years, 5 and a bit. But been in the industry for a little bit longer than that. I was sort of nearly 20 years with a Luxembourg provider, but been in the industry since the early 80s.
This organisation, Utmost, it's grown incredibly quickly over the past few years. How have you been able to grow that quickly, and what have the challenges been?
Yeah, no, good question. The reason we could grow is, there's companies available for us to buy. So that's if you look at what's happened over the last sort of 5 or 10 years, so the international life space, particularly those companies that were owned by the big sort of multinational companies, the AXAs, the Generalis, etc. The international business became non-core. They didn't. It wasn't their level of expertise. They didn't want to commit the resource, etc. So slowly, one after the other, they put them on the block for sale. So we picked up one from AXA. We picked up two from Generali. Obviously, just bought Quilters. We'd also bought, a little bit quieter, sort of the back book from the old Scottish International, as Athora, Scottish Mutual International, Aviva, etc., etc. So we were able to build, the core of the business by buying these non-core businesses from the big multinationals. The trick's been sort of putting them together. At the same time as we were building the AUM by buying it in effectively, we'd also been writing an awful lot of new business. In 22 we were again the largest in terms of new business production in the international space. So it's been a mixture of organic growth and acquisition. So it's the hardest bit is, of course, integrating everything together, and that's where. So obviously, my sphere of expertise is on the expertise. For anybody watching this, is on the sales marketing proposition side. I'll leave the upside to my colleagues, but the key bit was to make sure that we had one sales team, one set of products, one marketing message, one brand, etc., and to do it very quickly when we integrated somebody in, because the last thing you want is confusion with the distribution partners, because they want to know they're dealing with Utmost. They don't want to think they're dealing with Utmost stroke XYZ.
Tell me a little bit about, you mentioned the challenges. What are the opportunities at the moment? What over this next 12 months? Purely from our point of view, what's happened, obviously, I don't want to start covering all the geopolitical stuff, whatever. Yeah.
But if you look historically when things like this have happened, clients and brokers tend to revert to using the larger organisations. They just feel secure with size, basically. So we're going to, we have been doing, but we're going to make an enhanced push on a real focus on our size, strength, stability, solvency, etc. To actually, because people will. It's a proxy for security if you're large. So we're going to make an enhanced push on that. Then in terms of markets, obviously we have a very strong presence in the UK. So we keep making little enhancements to products. A very strong presence in Italy, which again we need to keep enhancing. But then you've got the growth markets, which are sort of Asia, LATAM. We just taken on a lady for France. France, just because of who we've acquired, we've not really had much of a presence, but France is a major market that we really need to be in. So it's going to be an awful lot of investment in the French market this year. Portugal is a lot happening in Portugal. And to be fair, I obviously criticised I don't mention every single country that we've got, but we're doing little tweaks and we have development plans for all the markets. So, but the big thing is that we want to capitalise on what we've built, that size, strength, stability, etc.
It's funny, I've got a question for you, and It makes me sort of smile asking it even. I'm going to say, why are there so few providers out there at the moment?
All right.
I was just say because you bought them all.
Yeah, yeah.
No, it's an interesting.
It's a serious
point,
question.
It is a serious question because obviously there's yourselves and there's other large providers that are acquiring companies. But why this convergence, and is it a problem? Is it too much? Is it getting too consolidated?
I'll answer the second bit second. Why have we got to where we are? I mean, I'd answer your serious question with the word tomatoes. There's an economist, I think it was Milton Friedman, said, if you want to create a shortage of tomatoes, you cap the price. That's so what happened sort of 10, 15 years ago, and we were chatting about this just before we obviously came on, is that one or two of the major distribution partners started to squeeze the live companies and effectively put a price cap on. And the problem being is that they put a price cap on what the life companies could charge, and they left nothing in it for the. My father always told me, dealing with business, always leave something in it for the other person, and you've got to do that. So if you haven't got the balance, between what the client wants, what the partner wants, what the shareholders and staff want, you can't afford to be in business. You can't afford to reinvest, for instance, and unfortunately, some of the larger distribution partners squeeze some of the companies a bit too much, and that's they were unable to invest, unable to carry on. And then the guys, the owners of these businesses, the big multinationals, are looking at the returns from these non-core businesses and thought, hey, we're getting the premium in, but we're not making any money. So, I mean, we're quite strict, wrong word. But I think we have a very fair commercial price, and we have some very strong relationships with the partners that want to work with us on that basis, where there's something, everybody's been satisfied, whether it is the clients getting a decent price, whether it's the partners getting good service, good technical support, and the staff and the shareholders being looked after, and we make a profit to put back into the business. But the fundamental problem was the ridiculous pricing from 10, 15 years ago.
You've been in the industry for a few years now. What's the biggest kind of change that you see
over the last sort of 20, 25 years? I think the industry, going back up to that sort of time frame, I think the industry was very commission driven. I mean, it was a very commissions, high margins, mirror funds, etc., etc. And
it still is in some places.
It still is a little bit, but less so. Whereas I think we're seeing an increasing shift to more of an advice-centric type of approach, where we're seeing advisors now on a global basis working almost on like a UK RDR basis, not quite, but not. And actually, it's more of an advice sale as opposed to a commission sale. Because what we actually do, is incredibly valuable. Succession planning, a single safe haven planning, portability planning, just client reporting. I mean, 25 years ago, you didn't have CRS or FATCA. Now you've got CRS, which if you're in a particular place and you've got assets all over the globe, your CRS reporting is quite onerous. So we've got solutions to an awful lot of different client problems, and advisors are now focusing on those, rather than, not suggesting all advisors were like that 20, 25 years ago, but there was a tendency to focus on the commission side, whereas we see it a little bit, but we don't see it anywhere near what it was.
You mentioned just like going back to what you mentioned before. You mentioned about the regions that you see yourselves doing business in. You sold AM Advisory in Singapore. Tell me about that. What was the thinking behind that? Because Asia's a growth region.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. So obviously when we acquired the Quilter business, it came with AAM that they'd owned for a number of years. And it came with some very good financial advisors. I mean, some really good financial advisors. But the more we dug into it, it clearly wasn't going to be a core business for Utmost. And also, I have a particularly strong view on this: is that the distribution is a different skill from running a life company. And I'm struggling to think of a situation where a life company has bought a distribution partner and made a roaring success of it. I can give you a whole list of people who tried it and failed, and every time they told me it's going to be different. But it's two different sets of skills. I mean, people are good at distribution, and we can name all of them, it's not the same as running a life company. Paul and Ian, they're founders and show, they run Utmost and they're expert at it. Trying to run distribution is a different skill set. So it was non-core. We haven't the skill set. We're an advisor business. We work through advisors, so it just didn't fit. So we had to take quite a harsh decision to close the business. But the advisors all found, obviously, because they're good advisors, are attractive to the distribution partners in Singapore. So they've all found homes with various advisors, and the clients have found various homes, obviously, with those advisors in Singapore. It was just, it just wasn't a core part of the business.
So just give us a tiny bit about your background, and just tell me what you love about this business. What do you love about the industry?
So I started quite a long time ago with Noble Lowndes. So a lot of these names Noble. I was at Target. I was then in the international space with a large provider that we'll all know in Luxembourg. Then obviously joined Paul. So I've done I've been in sales and marketing for like 30 odd years, and I think my favourite bit is the people. I mean, the salespeople that you meet in this, they've all got something about them. They're all different, but they've all got something about them. And once you get in a conversation with them, hopefully over lunch, a nice lunch is my favourite part of my working environment. But they've all got something. They've all got there's a bit of spark, a bit of buzz with these people, and that's the same whether you're dealing with people in Singapore or in Santiago. I mean, or Scunthorpe. I mean, it's just they've all got something about them, and it's great getting them out and talk. If you let them talk about their business, you have an awful lot of fun.
I really like that, and what a great way to end the interview. It's all about people. There's plenty of characters in this industry.
Yeah.
Some good, some not always so good. This has been 10 Minutes With. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.